When fear overcomes faith, what happens? What happens when a divinely appointed person, destined to change the world, fails twice? Abraham, the patriarch of many, faces a foreign king in a tense encounter, caught in the consequences of his trickery. Abraham learns about integrity and justice from King Abimelech, a pagan. It seems unlikely, right? Yet, that happens in one of Genesis's most captivating stories. This story transcends ancient history and challenges us to face our fears, failures, and choices. It shows how grace abounds even in our failures, extending mercy to the unworthy. Visions of the Night show sacred messages, a ruler of infinite kindness, and heartfelt supplications that restore. As this narrative unfolds, you may wonder, am I acting within integrity? Am I reverting to my past mistakes to avoid being seen? Aether around as we explore this captivating tale, full of suspense, unexpected twists, and timeless wisdom. Start this journey together. Story of human vulnerability and divine intervention emerged in Gerar, where the sands whispered tales of yore and the winds whispered across vast deserts. Abraham, chosen by God to be the father of many nations, lived once. He faced fear and uncertainty in a crucial moment, a test of his faith that revealed his human frailties and God's promise. Ham and Sarah, his beloved wife, left their homeland and traveled to a land promised by the Almighty long ago. While traveling, they faced trials that forced Abraham to make difficult decisions that would last forever. In ancient times, entering Gerar, where King Abimelech ruled, was difficult. A mighty king's strength and command were legendary, but fate often tossed his land. Abraham's fears grew in this unfamiliar land of doubt. M's beloved wife Sarah was stunningly beautiful, shining brightly over the years. Abraham was deeply affected by her presence. When they arrived in Gerar, he wondered, what if the inhabitants lay eyes on Sarah and covet her? What if they resort to violence to claim her for themselves? Such fears clouded his judgment and led him down a familiar path of deceit. Abraham changed his path for self-preservation. He told King Abimelech and others that Sarah was his sister, not his wife. Fear and a desperate attempt to avoid danger governed the story. Abraham had used similar tactics before. He faced a similar challenge in Egypt long ago. He was repeating the same mistake, despite the dire consequences. Raham lie. Was it just fear of dying, or was there something deeper? Perhaps a lack of faith in God's promises caused it. In fact, the Almighty had promised Abraham that his descendants would outnumber the stars. Abraham seemed to forget his sacred promise to the Almighty in this vulnerable moment. Instead of trusting others, he chose a self-preservation course. Abracourse ois had lasting effects. In deception, he declared Sarah his sister, endangering his beloved wife, King Abimelech, and his household. Abimelech didn't realize that bringing Sarah home would enrage God. In the divine narrative, Sarah was the chosen vessel through which the promise of countless descendants would come to fruition. The divine plan was threatened by Abraham's cunning. Even cunning, frailty, Abraham's choices matter. When faced with the unknown, who hasn't felt fear and survival instinct? Abraham's tale shows that even the most devoted can fall, and that God's chosen are not immune to uncertainty. It also sets the stage for a grand tale in which divine authority rules, compassion triumphs over human flaws, and the divine purpose is unshaken by our mistakes. As we follow this story, we see how Abraham's deception leads to divine intervention. It's a gentle reminder that God sees our flaws and weaves them into his plan. Suspense builds. When the truth is revealed, what happens to King Abimelech? What will God do with this complex web of fear, deception, and unexpected outcomes? The journey unfolds in a captivating narrative that inspires us to trust in divine loyalty, even in the midst of our own fears. In ancient Ge'ez, story shows humanity's fragility and the divine's loyalty. Abraham faces a difficult situation as God's chosen patriarch. He turns to cunning and trickery in fear for his life, driven by the beauty of his beloved wife Sarah. King Abimelech learns Sarah is his sister, not his wife. Abraham repeats his mistake. He used a similar strategy in Egypt, and now it appears that time is turning again. Unknowingly, again Ek takes Sarah into his home. The divine hand intervenes before her, or his realm is in danger. In a moving vision, the Almighty tells Abimelech, "You are as good as dead because of the woman you have taken. She is a married woman." This message overwhelms him. His heart is racing and his thought racing, uncertain as he wakes up. What could have caused this? Could he have been unaware of the danger he faced as he approached a major sin? Dreams divine sin. Our strong divine compassionate. He reassures Abimelech that he saved him from sin, preventing a terrible deed. Abimelech acted honorably, unaware of Sarah's true identity, according to divine revelation. However, the situation is serious. The Lord tells Abimelech to return Sarah to Abraham, a prophet who will pray for him and heal him. If Abimelech ignores this warning, the Almighty will destroy him and his family. Abimelech is family, contemplative after the dream. He consults his trusted advisors and shares his sacred warning. He speaks urgently with reverence and trepidation. He asks, "Can you believe this?" In a dream, the Almighty spoke to me, guiding me away from a grave error. Now, I must swiftly take action to restore balance. His advisors lose doubt. They implore him to heed divine guidance immediately. Following him immediately, Abimelech shows integrity and modesty. He heeds the warning and doesn't justify his actions as a powerful ruler. He pursues Abraham with determination to reveal the truth. Abraham enters Abimelech's presence amid tension, and the ruler's voice is accusatory and disbelieving. His voice rings through the chamber with irony. "What have you done to us? How have I wronged you that you have cast such a heavy burden of guilt upon me and my kingdom?" See a pagan king confronting the Almighty's servant for his sin. Abraham struggles to sin. His deception. He fears Gerar residents will harm him to take Sarah. He reveals Sarah is his half-sister to explain his choices. His logic doesn't mitigate his deception. Abimelech leans in, his face a blend of frustration and pity. He learns that Abraham's fear made him compromise his integrity, risking his life and a kingdom. Behold, this is it to kingdom dot. Despite not worshiping Abraham's God, Abimelech is fair and generous. As a sign of repentance, he brings Sarah back to Abraham with flocks of sheep, herds of cattle, devoted servants, and shining silver. Besides duty, his actions are driven by a desire for reconciliation. He restores Sarah's dignity, seeing her purity, a dignity to Abimelech purity. He's change. It asks him to transcend himself and show justice and compassion. It beautifully depicts God's infinite mercy, reaching beyond the sacred covenant. Morality and righteousness transcend religious boundaries, as Abimelech's reaction to the divine intervention shows. When faced with truth and accountability, a person's true self is revealed through their actions. As the story unfolds, actions clear that the divine hand was not solely concerned with Sarah or Abraham's promise. It was also about passing on wisdom across time and space. Fear can cloud our vision in uncertain times, causing even the most devoted to deviate from wisdom. Even though humans make mistakes, God's authority ensures His plans come true. This story makes us think of true lives. Ever let fear influence our choices? Do we sacrifice our principles for safety, only to regret it later? These questions persist, calling us to bravely face the unknown. Abraham and Abimelech's stone known. More than history, it mirrors human complexity and the divine's unchanging essence. It comforts us by reminding us that even with our flaws, the divine narrative for humanity continues, offering hope and salvation to all who seek Him. This story explores divine mercy, a human journey in a soul-stirring way. In Abraham and Abimelech's journeys, it becomes a vivid truth. The Almighty protects His sacred promise to Abraham, demonstrating His unwavering justice and boundless compassion in perfect harmony. This sacred harmony makes the story captivating and familiar. Imagine, Abimelech, a ruler unfamiliar with Abraham's God, is caught in a predicament beyond his control. He welcomed Sarah into his home, thinking she was Abraham's sister, unaware of the truth. As the shadows grew, God intervened. In a nighttime vision, the Almighty warns Abimelech of his actions. The amazing thing is that God doesn't just judge Abimelech. In this moment, He says, "I understand that your intentions were pure, and thus I have shielded you from wrongdoing against me." This remarkable declaration illuminates me. It's justice. Abimelech receives mercy for his ignorance. Instead, he shows mercy and allows reconciliation. God's mercy is powerful and intentional. He protects Abimelech from a serious transgression, despite his ignorance of the consequences. This shows that the divine's mercy is not limited to those who know Him. It includes everyone, regardless of background or beliefs. However, God's infinite mercy goes beliefs. He then provides specific instructions for Abimelech to resolve the issue. The Lord tells him to return Sarah to Abraham, promising life if he does. Amazingly, the Almighty shows Abraham, who falters, as a prophet destined to intercede for Abimelech and his family. This fervent prayer will restore and heal, reversing any transgression. This story shows how God guides imperfect souls to His grand design. Abraham, who caused the problem with his cunning, can now help with the solution through prayer. This is a powerful reminder that God can use anyone, even the weak, to accomplish His will. As we consider the larger meaning of Thewildary, divine compassion becomes even more rich. Foreign King Abimelech discovers the depths of Abraham's God. In this profound moment, he discovers that this divine presence is just and compassionate, not capricious or wrathful. Abimelech discovers that God protects, guides, and forgives. This lesson shows that divine mercy is unlimited for all people, transcending culture and faith. Furthermore, God's mercy makes us reflect faith. Own journeys. How often do we respond out of misunderstanding or fear, only to realize the consequences? Like Abimelech, we may not understand our actions. Yes, the divine meets us now. His grace is without limit until we're perfect. He enters our brokenness and gives us a way forward. This aspect of the divine should inspire forward and gratitude. Humility shows us we make mistakes. Like Abraham, we make the same mistakes along the way. Thankfulness reminds us that God's mercy exceeds our shortcomings. His embrace welcomes us back no matter how far we go. Abimelech's story shows how divine mercy saves go-rum disaster. It prolongs Abimelech's life and deepens his understanding of God. It reminds Abraham that God's promise is steadfast, even in doubt and weakness. As seekers of wisdom, it teaches us that divine mercy is given freely and without qualification. Divineus remember that God's mercy trans qualification. We contemplate this story. We feel its vitality and purpose in every aspect of our lives. We may travel like Abraham, facing our fears and uncertainties, or like Abimelech, exploring the unknown. However, God's infinite mercy embraces us always. It calls us to trust Him, seek His wisdom, and share His abundant grace with others. This story invites us to accept the divine's prothers, RC, as a living truth that affects our daily lives. It calls us to be humble, recognize that we bear His grace, and share it with a world that needs it. Mercy from the divine is the story's core, bringing hope, redemption, and new beginnings. The scene of Abimelech's meeting with Abraham beginnings. Ancient, irony, and profound lessons. Imagine the powerful ruler of Gerar confronting Abraham, the Almighty's chosen patriarch. In this moment, Abimelech is morally superior to Abraham. His words cut to the heart, revealing Abraham's flaws and questioning his steadfastness as a symbol of unwavering faith. Abimelech demands, "What have you done to us? How have faith? Ged you that you have brought such great guilt upon me and my kingdom?" His tone is piercing, almost accusatory, as if he cannot comprehend the events. Consider a foreign king who does not bow to Abraham's God, but whose deeds surpass even the man of God in righteous and God. The irony is great. Abimelech's anger isn't just a personal slight. It reflects Abraham's deceit. Abraham's declaration that Sarah was his sister put his life and a kingdom at risk in a complicated situation. As we investigate, the situation's gravity becomes situation, ailing its serious implications. If Abimelech had believed Sarah was unmarried, he would have committed adultery, which is punishable by death, by divine law. Even worse, his family and community would have been judged by God for helping him commit a sin. Abimelech wisely confronts Abraham for his fear-driven lie, which endangered many lives. The conflict goes beyond assigning blame. Abimelech's Wolev saw a glimpse into the essence of his character. His anger stems from pain. He trusted Abraham, welcomed him to his land, and showed him hospitality. Abraham rejected that trust. This betrayal breaks our trust and honesty. Abimelech's response makes us wonder how often we sacrifice our principles for our own security or gain, ignoring the consequences for others. His frustration grows as Abimelech's story unfolds. He asks others, "Why did you declare, 'She is my sister,' leading me to take her as my wife?" Its implication is strong. Before the pagan king, Abraham finds himself in a moment of uncertainty, grappling with a challenging question. His silence carries a profound message. He struggles to explain his actions, for doing so would lay bare the fears and insecurities that dwell within him. And isn't that the heart of the story? Abraham's act of deception stemmed from a deep-seated fear, a fear that clouded his trust in the divine safeguarding promised to him. This moment stands as a pivotal chapter, not solely for Abraham, for all who lend an ear to this tale. It beckons us to face our own fears and the paths they carve that may lead us to forsake our principles. In moments of fear, we may find ourselves straying from our true selves, leading us to break trust, put others at risk, and harm the bonds we hold dear. Abraham's misstep stands as a powerful reminder, illustrating that even the most devoted can face moments of frailty. Yet, behold, there lies another layer to this confrontation: frailty. His reply unveils a surprising aspect: his deep sense of justice. Even when faced with injustice, he chooses not to seek revenge. He shows mercy to Abraham and does not seek retribution. In that moment, he heeds Abraham's words and promptly acts to make things right. This reveals much about Abimelech's guidance and ethical direction. He had the ability to wield his power against Abraham, yet he opted for a path of justice and responsibility instead. In a dramatic turn of events, Abimelech graciously returns Sarenstead, Ham, bringing with him a bounty of generous gifts. Yet, the profound impact of the meeting remains etched in the heart. It presents Abraham and us with a profound truth. Our deeds carry weight, and even the tiniest concessions can ripple through time with significant impact. It serves as a powerful reminder that integrity is essential and cannot be overlooked. In the grand tapestry of existence, be it as leaders, followers, or solitary travelers, it is our choices that weave the very fabric of our identity. In the end, Abimelech's encounter with Abraham serves not mere identity of personalities, but as a reflection of the intricate tapestry of human nature. Personality's fear may obscure our discernment, yet accountability paves the way for healing and renewal. It calls upon us to embrace courage, to place our faith in divine promises, and to consistently uphold integrity, even in the face of uncertainty. For ultimately, it is not solely about our own journey. It is about the influence we leave on the lives of others. Abimelech's reaction to the circumstances is truly extraordinary. To understand the weight of the events that have unfolded, he responds not with fury or vengeance. Instead, he moves with the grace of wisdom, the quiet strength of humility, and a surprising sense of justice that unfolds like a well-told tale. Behold, this king of pagan lands, who does not bow before the God of Abraham, reveals a remarkable integrity and moral clarity that shines brightly against the backdrop of Abraham's own moments of deception. Abimelech's deeds shine brightly as a testament to true leadership and the importance of making amends, leaving an indelible mark on all who encounter this tale. When Abimelech approaches Abraham, his voice resonates with authority. His tale is laced with a profound sense of justice. He asks Abraham why he did what he did. "What have you done to us? What have I done to you to burden me and my realm with guilt?" The words evoke wonder, yearning, and a desire for clarity and insight. Abimelech doesn't want to punish Abraham maliciously. He wonders why this revered servant of the Lord, this chosen patriarch, would deceive him. How Abimelech treats Sarah makes his response even more intriguing. He hon him Ra as a person of worth and dignity in the face of imminent danger to himself and his community. He graciously returns her to Abraham with honor and respect in a remarkable turn of events. He acknowledges her purity and guarantees her rightful place. Abimelech's journey continues. As a generous gift, he gives sheep, cattle, servants, and silver. This remarkable act of kindness shines, especially given the challenges. Abimelech's gifts show his sincerity in restoring harmony. He challenges livestock and servants to help his family thrive and fulfills the covenant. The silver's elegant beauty symbolizes Sarah's dignity and worth in life's grand tapestry. Abimelech says, "I see the worth of this woman, and I hold her in high regard." Such respect and consideration are rare even in today's world, revealing much about his character. Most notable in Abimelech's reaction is his willingness to learn from the character. He sees the encounter as more than a misunderstanding or bad luck. Instead, he accepts his role in the story, even if he did so unknowingly. He follows divine warnings and sacred instructions and aligns his household with the divine will. His willingness to accept correction and his dedication to justice reveal a profound character that often surprises outsiders. Abimelech's actions make us question morality and faith. Many consider outsiders treasure for those who follow the Lord. Despite not walking with the Almighty, this man embodies heavenly teachings. His fairness, generosity, and humility show that goodness can come from unexpected places. Abimelech's actions make us consider our own paths. Do we quickly reconcile after realizing our mistakes? Do we show grace and respect to others when it costs us? Furthermore, Abimelech's response emphasizes the importance of honest and moral leaders. As ruler, he could easily silence Abraham or seek revenge. His journey is one of healing and unity. His actions protect his realm from heavenly retribution and inspire his people. In this act, Abimelech shows that true leadership is based on humble service and concern for others. This story beautifully shows how complex human connections are. Abraham's trickery others brought him down, but Abimelech's response brought renewal and enlightenment. It shows that mercy and renewal can exist during conflict. Abimelech's kindness and Abraham's heartfelt prayers unite two people who share humanity and divine encounters. Abimelech's story shows that God can touch anyone. The story of Abraham and Abim encounters how the divine hand orchestrates life despite mistakes and unexpected actions. This pagan king, though not chosen by the Lord, becomes a vessel for his divine will. His response shows that the divine can use anyone, anywhere, to achieve his goals. It teaches humility, justice, and grace's boundless power. Abraham's heartfelt plea for Abimelech and his family is a turning point in this story. Power. Trading intercessory prayer's power and the divine's compassion. A remarkable event occurs when Abraham calls on God. It's about faith taking a bold step to connect the human spirit to the divine presence, not just words floating away. Abimelech and his charges depend on this heartfelt prayer. Imagine Abraham standing before Abimelech's household, humble and duty-bound. He is aware prayer. He brought this turmoil into their lives. Rather than remain silent or ashamed, he boldly speaks out, vocalizes in prayer. We see the essence of a true mediator, someone who bridges the gap for others. His prayer is generous, putting others first. People affected by his actions are seeking healing and completeness, not personal justification. The Almighty's quick response makes this moment captivating. God acts quickly when justification. The struggle to conceive in Abimelech's household has ended, bringing hope and new beginnings. Life revives what was dead. After despair, restoration comes. This sacred moment shows that prayer connects us to the source of all existence, giving it great power. It's a powerful reminder that God can redeem anything. Let us consider the significance of this matter. How often do we overlook prayer's profound anything? Our journeys. It could be a routine, a peaceful break, or a last resort when all else fails. However, this story challenges that view. Prayer is active and engaging. It's a sign of strength, not weakness. Essential, not just important. Abraham joined the divine in the sacred work of restoration when he prayed. Consider the significance of this moment. Abimelech, who was not in Abraham's sacred covenant, prayed. It's from Abraham's deep connection with God. This lesson shows that our connection to the divine ripples through others. We call on God for strength and presence in situations beyond our understanding in prayer. Prayer can heal broken relationships, give weary souls hope, and solve seemingly insurmountable problems. In addition, this story emphasizes humility in prayer. Abraham stood firm in his faith when problems docked Abimelech. Abimelech had restored Sarah, and sought reconciliation, right? Why couldn't Abraham accept things? Yet he does not. He lowers and moves forward with purpose. He accepts his role in the grand narrative and acts accordingly. A humble spirit without pride or defensiveness wants to invite the divine into others' lives. Deep change comes from this humility. It draws our attention from our lives to God's plan. It gentlives.ds us that prayer is about harmonizing our hearts with the divine purpose, not just changing outcomes. Abraham knelt in prayer, confident that the Almighty would act justly for him and all those affected by the events. Faith opened the door to miracles. The restoration of Abimelech's household shows how the Almighty shows mercy without favoritism. Go miracles. Heal them, because they were covenant followers. Abraham's prayers ascended, and God's infinite mercy healed them. This challenges the idea that divine blessings are for the selig ascended. Indeed, God's boundless grace touches everyone, even those who don't fully understand Him. It depicts a beautiful scene of unity and kindness, showing how divine love embraces all people. We are inspired to pray with courage and devotion as we contemplate this sacred moment. Prayer can shape people's and lives in moments of need, whether for ourselves, our loved ones, or strangers. It symbolizes the divine presence that hears our cries, acts, and heals. The divine hand of redemption weaves hope and restoration for those who seek Him earnestly through our human frailties and errors. Thus, when facing a challenge, remember Abraham's inspiring journey. Take a risk, believing in the journey. Raise your voice in prayer. Believe that God hears your cries and that His strength can overcome any obstacle. Our prayers unite us with the Creator of all things, transforming everything. This story offers timeless lessons about the human journey. It asks us to consider our choices and value everything. Its deception shows humanity's fragility. Even a divinely chosen patriarch with a sacred promise was not immune to fear and bad decisions. His actions show that we divinely rail. He remains in the divine narrative despite his flaws. It emphasizes a profound truth. The divine uses imperfect beings to fulfill His divine plans. This understanding can inspire humility and freedom. It shows us that trusting in God and learning from our mistakes is more important than perfection for being chosen by Him. Abimelech and Abraham's meeting enriches the story. A foreign king, apart from the chosen people, calls the him to Abimelech's for his deeds. This unexpected turn raises important questions about our values and actions. Is our behavior consistent with our beliefs? Do our actions reflect the deity we worship? Abimelech's anger shows Abraham's decisions' effects on him and his people. It's a gentle reminder that our choices ripple through others' lives in ways we may not expect. As we walk through life, this reflection encourages thoughtfulness. Despite the tension, grace is possible. Abimelech's response is remarkable. Despite deception, he chose thoughtfulness. Fear, retaliation, choosing generosity over bitterness. He returns Sarah safely and gives her beautiful gifts as a gesture of kindness. His actions make us consider how we handle injustice, forgive, or hold on to bitterness. Abimelech's story shows that morality and compassion are not limited to the faithful. It calls us to see the goodness around us and reflect it in our lives. This story emphasizes prayer's power. Abraham prays for Abimelech and his family in compassion, and the Lord, He lives, renews. This moment shows how prayer can change lives beyond our own. It reminds us that our relationship with God makes us blessings. Prayer bonds us to the divine, weaving a tapestry of hope, healing, and reconciliation. This profound truth calls us to revere prayer and trust its power to change hearts and situations. Beyond these individual lessons, this story has remarkable deeper truths. It shows a divine presence that is situations, sifle, ruling with sovereignty and compassion. In remarkably intervention, the Almighty protects his sacred agreement with Abraham, ensuring his promises will be fulfilled. He forgives Abimelech for his ignorance and shields him from judgment. This beautiful balance of justice and grace shows that God is intimately involved in his people's lives, orchestrating every detail for his glory and our benefit. This tale shows the divine design's unwavering strength. The divine plan remains steadfast, despite Abraham's failure benefit, Abimelech's unintentional role. We are comforted that our mistakes do not derail his divine plan. They become opportunities for him to demonstrate his faithfulness and power. This perspective can alter our perception of our struggles. Let us trust that the Almighty is using these trials to shape our character and fulfill his plan. This story invites us to connect with God more deeply. It urges us to walk in integrity, choose wisely despite fear, and plan others' grace as he has shown us. It calls us to humble ourselves and acknowledge our dependence on divine guidance and strength. It shows us that the divine's love and dedication to us endures forever, despite our flaws. May this story inspire us to be authentic, love with open hearts, and trust in the steadfast presence. His unwavering flaws. Faithfulness defines us, not our perfection. We should cherish that truth. Abraham and Abimelech's story moves me with its humanity. Abraham, chosen by God for a great mission, struggles with truth, bad decisions. His deceit about Sarah shows a flaw we all share, the tendency to respond from insecurity rather than trust. But what shines brightest is God's promise to Abraham to keep his covenant despite human imperfections. It reminds us that our missteps do not define us, but our response to them and faith in divine grace do. This story challenges me to face my insecurities. How often do I let uncertainty cloud my judgment? Can I take responsibility for MD actions when they affect others? Perhaps more importantly, am I willing to accept mercy when I least deserve it? These questions linger after the story is told. Consider a profound lesson. Integrity matters. Our decisions ripple through lives and events in ways we may never fully understand. Told. God's infinite mercy doesn't absolve us of our duty. Instead, it invites deep trust and humility. What will you do with this story, listener? Will you accept its discomfort and let it improve you? Will you discuss fear and faith humility? Will you explore how God weaves his plans through brokenness? May this timeless story inspire us to live authentically, offer grace with open hearts, and trust that a divine purpose unfolds despite our flaws.